to welcome the trainees.
Right.
All
Okay,
right, so
wonderful.
Miss Mrs. Hewitt, Mrs. Hewitt, on her behalf, I'm welcoming the trainees of the program. I should think we have the level 3 trainees, and it is commendable to see persons taking up offers like this at this time and going through committing to a program so they can further their knowledge, they can further their qualification. Some persons, they do have higher qualification, but they still see the need for a skill. So we would like to thank you for for participating in one of our programs at Boys Town, and we hope your time that you will spend here will be a fruitful one, and whatever your aim was, it will be met at the end of your program.
All right, wonderful. So that's Miss Williams, and Miss Williams is or could you just say again, Miss Williams?
Okay, I'm the assessments monitoring officer.
All right, wonderful. So there you have it, trainees. On behalf of Mrs. Hewitt, she has expressed her welcome. All right, so receive that message on behalf of Mrs. Hewitt. Thanks, Miss Williams, for sharing such a wonderful message in introducing our trainees to the institution. All right, thanks, Miss Williams. All right, so our next person that is on the agenda here or in the program, we have Miss Nicole Berry Stanford. Is Miss Stanford here? Is Mrs. Stanford here? All right, I'm not hearing. Is Mrs. Stanford here?
No, go ahead.
She's not? All right, so that would be a message from the acting principal director. Unfortunately, she is not with us. All right, so next up, we're just going to dive into our external assessment or external appeal. And again, you will hear from Miss Chantel Williams, and she is the Assessment Monitoring Officer. So she will walk you through those process as it relates to assessments in externally. All right, Miss Williams?
All right, Miss Kenley, I'm not sure if you have anything, can drop in for 5 minutes. I'm going to try to join with my laptop because my phone is dying.
All right, sure. All right, so Miss Smith, could you just go back to the screen where we look at the program? All right, so trainees, it's only fair that you have an idea what our institution is about. So we're just going to look at our vision and our mission statement, right? And of course, you can raise any question after we look through the vision and mission statement. All right. So the vision statement is saying that the Archers NSTA Boys Town Vocational Training Center will be the premier hospitality and marketing and promotions training institution in Jamaica, utilizing a highly trained professional staff, right? State of the art technology and equipment in training and commercial operation to produce competent chefs, room attendants, servers and marketing personnel to satisfy the needs of the hospitality and business sectors. All right, so that is our vision, right? And I hope you can have interest to share that vision with us here at Boys Town. All right, trainees.
Yes, I
All
really
right.
feel welcome and I appreciate what you have just said a while ago. However, I just want to say that I heard you mention um, three. However, I am Cecilia Fuller and I'm a part of group two. So I was just wondering if I should be here in
All
this.
right, say that again. I didn't hear the question.
Okay, so I am doing commercial food two. I'm two, right?
You
But
said that you're a level 2,
yes.
right?
So I was just wondering if I should be here since you made reference to level three.
All right, so I heard the reference on the level 3, but the question is not clear as I am hearing a little breakage.
I was wondering if I should be at this orientation.
Or if you say you are a level 2.
Yes, because I'm
So the orientation is for both day and evening
level
commis chef, right? And
level
level 3, which is chef de
two.
partie,
Okay. So does
right?
it mean that I don't have classes for today? Because normally I have a Thursday night class.
Or you have a class? What time that class starts?
Started 6:30.
6:30.
Yes.
Oh my. Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. With the permission
Uh-huh.
from your instructor, or could I say may we just borrow you for a little time?
Sure. As
Because
long
we do
as
take your training serious
uh-huh.
and we're trying to be as quick as possible.
Okay.
All right, could you just bear with us?
No problem. I can as long as you let him know, you know?
All right, wonderful. So we won't keep you much long. All right. So the mission statement is also on the program, and of course our objectives, right? In your spare time, I'm sure this program will be sent to you, right? Also your student handbook, right? A soft version will be sent to you, and I hope you take the time out, trainees, and read your handbook. That's going to be your Bible for the time that you are with us at Boys Town. All right. Too often trainees don't go through that Bible, and sometimes they are misguided. And as a result of such, you know that there are consequences, right? In all fairness. So don't be on the wrong side, be a part of, get involved, and know your Bible. All right. And that will be your tool along with your academic tool to carry you through the program, to know the ins and outs, the operation of the institution. And of course, there are also opportunities in there where the counselor will engage you, right, in the work study program and the work experience, which are critical points for you to gain experience. All right. Any are you familiar with the work study program? No response. Any level 3 familiar with the work study program? Level 2? All right, Miss Smith, could you just go back to the program, the agenda aspect here, and let us just look to see who is next on the program to present. All right, so we would have the use of the library. So trainees, you'll be informed how to use the library. in the correct way. And this presentation will be from Miss Sheila.
No, we have to, can you, no, she's not available.
She's
Can
not.
you, no, we can move to the training with Miss Smith. So we can move on.
All right.
It is on.
Okay. All
Whenever
right.
you're
Thanks for
ready
that
for me, okay,
information.
Miss?
Come
All
again?
right. So we will take Miss Williams, and then we will take Miss Williams now.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
All right.
This is not just some money-making scheme, all right? I have a strong scientific belief
Yes.
that the world.
Oh, I'm hearing a noise. I can
All right.
share.
Whose microphone is
So,
open?
yes, you can share. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay. All right. Good night, trainees, colleagues. Good night. All right. For those,
Good night, Miss Chantel.
yes, those who are not familiar with me, my name is Chantel Williams. I am in the position of Assessments Monitoring Officer. Tonight, I am here. I'm going to try to keep my presentation as short as possible. So I am here to speak to you on the external appeal. Sorry, I am trying to play this thing from the beginning. All right. So the external assessment and appeal process. All right. Like any institution that you would have gone to, those who have attended Boys Town and would know about how external assessment goes and how the appeal, and maybe even familiar with the appeal system. Those who are new though, it is the external process is like any other institution. Say for instance, high school, when you would do your monthly test or so forth with your instructors at the end of the term, you would do your CXE. So that it's just the same with the external assessment. After you do your internal and you're recommended for the assessment by your instructor, then you would move on to your external. So here it is that the question is asked, am I a recommended candidate for external assessment? So to answer that question, you would have to answer these things as yes, I have completed all my internal theory exam. Your theory exams are given by your instructors. Normally there is 2 theory and 2 practical given by the instructor, and you're expected to score 50 and above on those theory to be recommended, and 50 and above on the practical as well to be recommended for external assessment. So have I completed all my practical tasks? The answer should be yes. So you complete a practical task and you have submitted your evidence based on what your instructor would have asked. I have submitted my evidences of portfolio. Yes, I have. I've submitted these to my instructor and I am sure they were graded. So now I can check with my instructor to ensure that I am recommended for external assessments. So when your instructor teaching a unit or teaching a cluster of units, I'm sure he or she would tell you what she's teaching on, and you'd be following to ensure that you have completed whether group task, individual task, and you have done tests, your theory exam as scheduled and as required of you. the next thing we are going to look on is assessment dates. Assessment dates are set by the assessment units. The date set by the unit is in agreement, normally in agreement with the training department, which would be the department of instructors that would have taught you the clusters of units that you're to be assessed on. Hence, most of the time, it is a date that would have been communicated with trainees to ensure that you knew beforehand, or sometimes instructors would even get confirmation that trainees would be available beforehand on these dates. And so we say the dates aren't optional. So it is not that I set the department has set a date and you know that you have the exam on Thursday or next week Thursday, and then when Thursday come, you don't do the exam because you were at work, or because I had a party to go to, or because you had some other thing that you would say is priority over the exam. And maybe if I call them, they can set the exam another date for me. External exam are not like that. I would say often say external exams are like CXCs. If the date is set for CXC, you know that you have the CXC on that day, you're not going to miss it. You know that you have it on that at that time, you're not going to miss it. So it becomes a priority. Normally, we do give these dates way ahead of time. So if you need to take the day from work, or if you need to take the time or leave earlier from work, you can ask in advance. If you need something from the school to submit to your supervisors to state that you have external exam on that date, you can, of course, you can get it, but do not treat dates as if it's optional and you can set your own assessment dates. That doesn't work with external assessments. If you know you're going to be absent for reasons that I would say beyond your control, or reasons that you had another important appointment, like say a doctor's appointment before, write to the unit, communicate that with your instructor, call our office, speak to myself or any other officer from my department, and we will take your matter into consideration. And of course, we are lenient and we're not cold-hearted. So it is not something that if you have something important to do, we can't facilitate you, but it is a matter of discussion. All right, so assessment at this time is done on Moodle, done online, and they are time bound. Some persons would be familiar with the Moodle site. Of course, I know your training would have started and you know what the Moodle site is about. You would have your training on it, your training documents and all of that information on Moodle. So is your external assessment will be done on Moodle, and it is time bound. So if it's 3 hours is the exam, normally say our exam start at 5:00 p.m. If the exam is 3 hours, we normally allow a 1 hour gap, a 1 hour extended time. So it is 3 hours, but we open the exam from 5, 6, 7, 8. We open the exam up to 8 o'clock. So you would be able to connect to your exam anytime between that time. All right, it said, what if something goes wrong while doing your assessment online? What if you lose connectivity? If you lose connectivity, we have normally when your exam information comes to your email, you see a number there where you can call, or you can send back an email to state whenever, whatever happened, or you can send an email or call your instructor depending on the time and if you're allowed to do so. What if you lose light? If it's that you lose light, your light, if it's more than 10 minutes, we recommend that you call us and we will make arrangements to ensure that your assessment was done fairly and you had enough time. Send us an email to tell us what happened, even if it is the next day, but don't wait on 1 week or even say 2 days after the assessment before you do so. You have to call do it same time or within 24 hours of that same exam, so we know what happened. If you're having trouble to connect, you can call, you can email us, and of course, our office is always available to assist. Exams are done online, and people use this opportunity to say that, oh, good, I can go on the web, I can search up the information, the answer that I need, and then what we do, we copy and paste person's work, person's words, and this is definitely not accepted. And of course, plagiarism leads to failed assessment. Once it is that the assessor is marking and should see that the assessment, they see words from the assessment that you have copied and pasted from Google, they have all right to fail your assessment. All right, here it is that we have the process of putting your internal practical evidence together for external use. At this time, because of COVID, we have implemented an easier way. Normally, what we would do is you would do an internal practical, and then you go ahead, when you're recommended, you do your external practical. Now, because of COVID, what we do is do one practical, which is your internal practical. And your internal practical has to be that good that if it is when it is taken up by the external assessor, remember, it's not your instructor. Once it is that your instructors give it to me or give it to my office, and it is sent to an assessor, the assessor don't know who is John Brown, the assessor don't know who is Mary Jane. And so it is important that when the assessor take up your practical evidence or watching your videos, looking at the picture, they should see what is going on. And so it is important to ensure that your practical evidence can be scrutinized by an external person. So here it is that we have a before picture. We are preparing cream of pumpkin soup. You have your picture of your tools and equipment that you will be using to make your cream of pumpkin soup. Here it is that you have also captioned what your picture is saying, and that is how it should be. So here it is that you have your equipment gathered for cream of pumpkin soup. You might state what the equipment are, even to state that you have a blender, you have your colander, you have this, you have that, you have a strainer, you have whatever it is that you're using to make your cream of pumpkin soup. You also have your ingredients. Here it is that it states what exactly you have here. So the assessor is looking, the assessor, it knows that this is cream because it is labeled. Notice that this is chicken broth, this is garlic, this is onion, this is pumpkin. because you have labeled your ingredients gathered for the cream of pumpkin soup. Now the during process. So persons take the before process and maybe the after process, but we don't see when all the nice work going on, right? When all the hard work was going on. That is the during process. So you state what exactly you're doing in the picture. Normally, we ask that applicant's face are in the picture. So here it is that John Brown is preparing the pumpkin. As you can see, he's cutting and he's peeling and dicing the pumpkin, the garlic, the onion. He has boiled the ingredients, the pureeing of the boiled ingredients, the adding of the cream, and the stirring. So it captions and it tells exactly what is going on. It is a story that you're building. Here is the final product, and it looks so nice, but of course we have to label it. So you tell what exactly it is. There is our cream of pumpkin soup garnished with spice Parmesan cheese. Doesn't that tells a story, trainees? Trainees? I'm speaking to myself.
Yes, miss.
No, yes, it does, miss. But
okay.
sometimes
if you
it's
were the
during,
assessor, would you mind
challenge.
Go again?
Sometimes the during process is a challenge. We do tend to lose evidence in the during process, but as a trainee, we try, but sometimes we do lose evidences in the during process. But it looks good though.
All right.
So we beg.
As an assessor, can you see the story that I'm telling? Can you see exactly what I'm doing?
Miss,
if you were the
some
assessor,
would
you
some of the
me?
slide, miss.
Go again?
Miss, I don't know if on my side a connection, miss, but I now see some of the slide them, miss.
Oh, sorry, maybe it's your internet connection. But this is what I'm talking about, building your evidences so they can be scrutinized externally. All right, next. To pass your external exam, you need both in the theory and practical. You should have a minimum pass grade of 50%. Of course, we are bright people and we work for more than 50% because we don't want to just scrape through. We want to make it in and ensure that we make it in. All right? So we encourage you to study, encourage you to work hard to get more than 50%. But 50% is the minimum pass grade. All right, here we are at the appeal system. So the Boys Town VTC do take things seriously, and here we have the appeal system where trainee has the right to appeal their exam results. So here it is that once it is that the exam results have been released, if it is that you don't have any concern about your results, there is no action needed to be taken. But what if you have concern about your results? You can schedule an informal discussion with the assessor. Normally, when you're getting your information for your external assessment, we normally state in that email to tell you who the assessor will be. So now our assessments are online. When the assessor marks it, you still can have an informal discussion by calling our office. We will ensure that we contact the assessor and the assessor and contact you so that you can speak to the assessor about your results. If you're satisfied with the reason from the assessor why he or she would have graded you, giving you that grade, then there's no further action needed. However, what if the matter has not been resolved? Then trainees refer the matter to the AMO, which is the Assessment Monitoring Officer. At this time, we have 2 officers, and you can refer the matter to any of us. We would have a meeting with the assessor and whoever is filing the complaint within 2 working days. What if after we have that little discussion, you're still not satisfied? Then you do have grounds for a formal appeal. So here it is where you now would submit a request for appeal to the appeal committee within 2 working days. The appeal committee comprises of the program coordinator, who is the chairperson, the assessment monitoring officer, the senior instructor, the skill instructor, the career development officer, and a trainee council representative, or the president of the trainee council. The AMO shall schedule the meeting with the appeal committee within 3 working days of receiving your appeal request. The appeal request is a formal form that you collect from our office, and complete that form and submit it to the AMO. Both the trainee and assessor will be given the opportunity to present their evidence in support of their position. So if you're stating that the assessor marked you unfairly or marked you biased, or you're stating that whatever the assessor did not mark you for, you should have evidence that yes, you're right, while the assessor will present his or her evidence why you're incorrect or why it is not so. Of course, it is like a court. So once your evidence is reviewed, then the committee shall make a ruling. The committee may decide to let the results stand, let trainee be reassessed at no cost, let the trainee be reassessed at a cost, or change the results. If you're not satisfied, then you may, with whatever ruling that the committee decides on, then you may consider referring the matter to NCT Vet for further action. Because as you know, as we are accredited for programs, but of course there's an accrediting body that would have given us the permission to be an accrediting institution to offer program, and that is the NCT Vet. We are here at the receipt process. Now, for the receipt, if you should fail an exam, refacilitation would need to be done by your instructor. Once it is that refacilitation is done, you would have to sit an internal receipt of theory and or practical, whichever one you failed. If it is that you pass this exam, then it is time to state your instructor to state that yes, you're ready for another shot at the external exam, and so you're given an external receipt. So the process is basically all over again. So you work to ensure that you have passed your exams. If you have any questions or queries, we ask for you to email us at theboystoneregistry@gmail.com. You may write that down if you would like to. Any questions at this time? If there be no question at this time, then thank you for joining and thank you for listening.
All right, Ms. Williams, thanks for sharing that quality information with us.
Thank you.
Okay, good night, everyone. This is Miss Cole. I sent a link for you to click on to register for the online register. If you look in the chat, it is in the chat. Just click on it, type your name, and click on what group you're from. Can person see it? I sent it more than once. Hello?
Miss, in our email, miss?
In the chat. No, man, in this chat, in the Teams chat.
No, miss, me not see.
I'm looking.
Nobody is seeing it?
I see it
What
there.
is it? Writing currency.
All right, so while you're looking for the information that Miss Cole sent in the chat, I want to just thank you, Miss Williams, for that effective presentation, and I hope the trainees will take notes and to know within their right how to act and also get enough information in preparing for those assessments. All right, so our next presenter is Miss Nicola Smith, and she is going to do her presentation on the internal assessment, training and internal assessment. All right, go ahead, Miss Smith. And Miss Smith is also the program coordinator, all right, at Boys Stone. So welcome, Miss Smith, and go ahead with your presentation.
C'est ça, moi, j'étais chez ça.
Miss Smith? All right, I'm not hearing Miss Smith.
Hello?
Miss Smith?
Yes, just a minute.
Okay. All right, Miss Smith is here.
Miss, we are not seeing the link that Miss Cole said she sent, miss.
All right, Miss Cole?
Yes, I'm hearing that.
All right.
All right. Welcome. I must say welcome to Boys Town PTC for the persons who are doing their first program, likewise the persons who are returning students, of course, might be doing a level 3 course. We're really happy to have you back. I'm going to see how fast quick I can go through this presentation. All right, so at Boys Town, we offer training in several courses, and we offer them by blended modality. We call it blended because we do online, likewise we do face-to-face. So for the online, we do our presentation, our theoretical classes, but at the same time, for us to do an effective practical, especially in the food preparation area, our food and beverage, likewise housekeeping, then some students will not be able to do so because of lack of resources. Hence, we have to do all of our practical face-to-face. If you're going to do probably like a simple presentation, probably like a PowerPoint or anything like that, and present to your instructor, then you can do that online. All right, so for internal assessment, Ms. Williams mentioned internal assessment, and the internal assessment comprises of written test projects, practicals, and presentations. And bear in mind, even though you might have a few persons or most persons usually say, well, I don't like to work in groups, but at the institution, there's no choice. And I can say majority of the institution that we actually might do a course at, we would have to work in group. It simply means that we have to work with people from different diverse cultural backgrounds. And this is how we would need to operate in the world of work. So basically, we are preparing you for what to come. All right, so this is our rating scale in regards to assessment, and I'm quite sure that a lot of persons would like to stay in the green because the red zone is very hot. So therefore, when you're doing any form of assessment, whether internal or external assessment, it is important that you prepare yourself adequately to do so. So for instance, this table is showing the levels. Let me see if I find a pointer. Right, so the levels for here, this section here will be in relation to your course. So it is telling you that if you get 80 to 100% in whatever internal or external assessment, you will gain mastery or competent in the unit, right? Separate and apart from that, if you get between 65 to 79, you will just be competent in the unit, but not master the unit. All right, so if you get between 50 and 64, again, you will just be competent in the unit, but not necessarily mastering it. If you get 35 to 14 or 49%, that simply means that you fail. So you might say, Miss, why I get 49 and I fail? I get 49. You couldn't find us 1 mark. But I have seen assessment papers where the assessor just searching away for 1 point and just cannot find any. So you want to ensure that when you're doing or whichever paper you're doing, or if you're going to do an internal test, don't take it for granted. Please to ensure that you study and study adequately. And I'm quite sure below 35, it's a no-no. Just a minute. All right, so soft skill. I just highlighted, I know Mrs. Kenley would speak to you in regards to soft skill that you need to have, but however, soft skill you need during training, you need to know how to manage your time. Time is important, as Miss Williams was speaking about time. There's a time when the test starts online and there's a time when it ends. So if you are late, it simply means you are late. In terms of the assessment that you're actually, the type of assessment you're doing now, which is online, you have to remember this is computerized or computer-based type of assessment. So it simply means that once you put it on Moodle and you set the clock on Moodle, then the clock started to tick once the time comes. Unlike when we used to do probably like a face-to-face type of assessment that is completely different. Probably when you go into the room, you can say, Miss, you know that traffic was on the road and you know that is why I delay. And she said, okay, then you can get a 15 minutes after the others finish. In this case, 1 to 3 hour laps, or the 2 hour, or the 1 hour laps, or the 30 minutes, that's it. All right, in terms of communication, communication is key. Communication between you, your instructors, and your peers, that is very important. If you're going to be late for class, you can send a little message to your instructor to say, Miss, I am going to be late. If it's a case where you're having challenges and then you're going to be absent for class, then say something. And on the other hand, if, for instance, you're really facing some challenges and you realize that probably I won't be able to complete this course within X time, or I might be sick or something, then it is important, equally important, that you communicate to us so that we can know what is happening to you. And we can do the relevant checks and ensure that our system are updated. And if it's a case where you need to join another class, then you can also send the letter to your CDO, and then from there, the arrangements will be made. If it's a case where you get a doctor's certificate, yes, you can pass it to the instructor, or you can do the same. Visit a CDO office and you can leave it there. All right, in terms of leadership, In terms of leadership, leadership is a vital part of the course. For instance, in group work, you know that usually you normally have a leader, somebody who will say, you know, wake up the group to say, hey, we have an assignment that is due, what is happening? Are we not submitting this? What X supposed to do, what Y supposed to do? That is how it goes. In terms of collaboration, you know, all of us working together to ensure that at the end you came into the program to achieve a particular goal, and we are here to serve you. And so we have to work together to ensure that everything goes well. In terms of problem solving, yes, in the course you will have issues. Yes, problem will arise. There is nothing that we do in life and it doesn't cause us to become agitated or cause us to, you know, to fuss. But at the same time, it's how we go about resolving the issues that we are faced with. I know that most persons are persons who might have a family. At the same time, you are going to school. You have this to do, you have that to do. The work is demanding, school is demanding, everything becomes demanding. But at the same time, you know, you want to stick it out to the end. Flexibility and adaptability. As we can see now, we're adapting to a new environment, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, everybody, you have to change. Things have to change, and then we have to adapt to a new way of doing things on a daily basis. Likewise, usually we would have been orientation, it would be face-to-face. Now we having orientation online, basically. In terms of flexibility, it might be a case where if for a practical, you would have to come to school probably like a little earlier time. I think some persons from the level 3 program that is currently in the level 3 program have experienced that, where because of the curfew, the COVID-19 measures and the curfew time, we had to move up the practical time a little bit just to facilitate those persons. And I can say they really make it through. And at the same time, even though issues were at hand now and then, but at the same time, the thing is that once they know what they want and they were determined and they come through in the end, despite the many challenges that we were facing. In terms of internal appeal assessment process, so the internal appeal assessment process, when I refer to internal assessment, I want you to think about your instructor, assessment or exam taken with your instructor. When you refer to external assessment, we're talking about final assessment. This final assessment is wherein which you would have done with the registry department, Chantel, who just presented. So it simply means that once you do the internal assessment and you're fine, we send over your name to the registry department, and from there, the assessment will be scheduled. All right, so in terms of the internal assessment committee consists of a program coordinator, the senior instructor, the career development officer, skill instructor, and a representative from the trainee council body or president, right? All right, so trainees are allowed to appeal their scores 3 working days after the score was communicated to you. So after your instructor come and say, John, you get 45% in the theory exam, you have 3 days to appeal, right? So the process for the appeal will be no longer than 10 working days, and it goes. The trainee should first discuss the matter with the instructor. So you would have to discuss the matter with the instructor before it can go any further. If there is failure to reach a solution, the matter should be referred to the trainee, referred by the trainee to the senior instructor, who will then meet with the trainee and the instructor, right? Thereafter, if the matter is still not resolved at this level, it is then referred to the program coordinator by the senior instructor. If an amicable solution is still not reached, then at this stage, the trainee shall appeal to the appeals committee using a prescribed form. and the farm is located in the department as well. The committee will review the matter and make final decision. The decision will be communicated to the trainee in writing. So it means that after you have completed the form, I must say, then we will convene a meeting with these person up at the top here, all of these players here, and then the committee will decide on a solution there and then and communicate to you in writing. So that is the internal assessment appeals policy. Do you have any questions so far? All right, this is just to show, I'm just going to run through this very quickly to show the different program that is offered at Boys Town, of course. So for persons who are interested in moving further, then they can have the opportunity to do so. So you need to ensure that you perform well at the level that you're at so that you can move up the ladder. We also do short courses like breakfast, baker, catering supervisor, customer engagement for hospitality services, guest room attendant, intro to bar and mixology, that's coming soon, of course, laundry attendant, public area attendant. And these are just jobs in the hospitality industry that you might be interested in, as probably some persons might be already working in. All right, let me see what is on this slide. So I think these are the pictures. All right, so I can end my presentation right here. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to ask, do anyone have any questions? Any questions? All right, so if no one have any question, I want to thank you all for.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Good night again, everyone, for the mixology course.
Mm-hmm.
When will that how long will that start go on for, I should say, the duration of the course?
Well, that course is a short course, so therefore it might last up to about, it depends on, then again, it also again depends on the type of experience that you already have. So for instance, if you already have experience probably like in food and beverage and stuff, then the course duration can be a bit shorter. If it's a group of persons from food and beverage who really want to do it. But if a fresh person, it might take about 6 weeks.
Oh, 6 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. Our next question, Miss, regarding the food and beverage class. Has classes started for that as yet?
The intake that we have was in July, so that program is ongoing. So until that course is finished, they should finish in December. So we are looking to recruit another batch of persons for January.
Oh, there was a meeting last week, Saturday, regarding food and beverage, and we were told that we had classes on Wednesday. However,
oh yes, that would be the one with Miss Gail, right?
Yes.
Oh, that is Miss Gail. That type of right. So for instance, that course with Mrs. Gail, it's a bit customized because some of those persons already have like majority of the units. So for instance, most of those persons have chef de partie. So once you have chef de partie, it might be just a few clusters that you will need to do from food and beverage in order for you to be certified.
I was just inquiring for a friend regarding if the classes for that course had started, because they haven't received a email to say
the classes will start soon. But I'll follow up with Miss Gail to ensure that the persons who have applied are contacted for
Okay.
the class.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? So if we don't have no other question, Mrs. Kenley, you may go ahead.
Okay, while we wait on Mrs. Kenley, are persons able to see the chat, the conversation part at all? If so, can you just
No,
type
miss.
you're not able to see it at all?
No, miss.
All right, can persons there tell me? All right, let me just try to make sure. I'm going to type the names them myself in the chat so that I can know who are the persons that are here, based on for us to able to get the register for today. So we have Laverne Grove, Laverne Grove. That is for Chef de Party. Pauline, can you tell me what group you're from, please? Pauline Blake.
I'm from level 2. Level 2.
Time?
Preparation. Level 2.
Part-time?
Food preparation. Level 2.
Ask if it is part-time or full-time.
Oh, part-time. Part-time.
Okay, I know Carnegie is in level 3. Dwayne Fuller, can you tell me which group you're from, please?
No, it's really Cecilia.
Pardon me?
My name is Cecilia Fuller. I am just using my husband's computer.
Fuller?
Are you hearing me?
You're cracking up a little. What's your name, please?
My name is Cecilia Fuller.
Cecilia Fuller, okay. And that's from which group?
2, level 2.
That's full-time or part-time?
Part-time. Part-time.
All right. Alia, I know Professor Alia is for level 3. Erica is level 3.
Yes, which of the Erica, miss? There's 2 Erica.
Freighter.
Okay.
Both of them are for level 3.
Marshall, all right, fine.
Mm-hmm.
And Erica Lawrence is level 3.
Yes, miss.
Let me see who else is on the platform. Carlene Finch, which is Chef de Party level 3.
Miss Cole.
Yes.
Good evening there. JustNet Wisdom is also here, so we are using the one device.
Okay, so JustNet as well. Thank you for that. Who else, please? Who else is online, please?
Miss
Amaya Nugent.
Sharon.
Good night, Amaya Nugent.
Amaya Nugent.
Amaya.
Amaya, that's for which group?
Level 3.
Okay. Next.
Miss
Andrea
Keisha
McPherson.
Brown, level 3.
Andrea. All right. Next.
Nikisha Brown, Miss.
All right. Which is which one?
Chef the party, Miss.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Okay, thank you everyone. So, I'm not sure what's happening with Mrs. Kenley, but I am going to go into my little thing. It's going to be very short. It's about safety, occupation, workplace health and safety. As you know, safety is everybody's business, and therefore we have to know what exactly. Tell me when you're seeing the screen, please.
Yes, we are.
All
I
right.
am.
So we are speaking about safety, and everybody knows about safety in the workplace and knows that safety, it is all of us are a part of the process. So let me just go into it. The management of HeartTrust is committing to safeguarding the occupational safety and health of our employees, trainees, and visitors. It is therefore prudent that the user-friendly safety, this is a booklet that we use for our, because everybody must have a safety guideline. So HeartTrust and the institution has a guideline and a policy that we adhere to, right? So we need to be adhering to these guidelines and the policies of the organization as well. And you know that within your course, we do some level of safety in the programs that you are doing. So hence now we still need to know what is happening. So let me not go into all of that. Just let me just jump into some of the things that I believe that as trainees you are responsible for.
Miss Cole?
Yes?
Oh, I've been saying something, but I don't know what happened. You weren't hearing me?
No. But I'm going ahead with my presentation on occupational health and on safety in the workplace.
All right.
Right. So under institution trainees, you must promptly report any unsafe and defective equipment to management, your instructor, or other members of staff. You must adhere to the safe working procedures and act safely in the workplace at all times. Do not bypass machinery safety guards. Use the guards as intended. Familiarize yourself with the institution's safety wardens and first aiders. Familiarize yourself with the institution's emergency procedures and cooperate with directives given from the safety wardens and emergency personnel. So as you know that, okay, so this is some of the aspects that you as a trainee is responsible for, and therefore anything that you see out of place, anything that you see that might cause damage to yourself or to anybody else, you should report it immediately to therefore know to make sure that you're in a safe environment, right? So if any emergency happens that it cannot be dealt with internally, you must be able to call the different emergency numbers, emergency personnel, the police, the fire personnel, the ambulance, office of disaster preparedness, NEPA. So these are some of the emergency places that we should be familiarize ourselves with. Even as individuals, we should have that information on hand in our individual homes as well, because safety is everybody's business. So we should know who to be calling at any time when things are happening, right? So we must always be prudent, we always be vigilant as to what is happening around us as well. So here it says that training should be oriented on the organization's safety and health procedures. All students should participate in emergency drills. Students should be provided with requisite personal protective equipment to adequately perform their tasks. So your PPEs that you have and working with is highly important. It's part of your safety gear with whatever aspect you're in. Trainees should be encouraged to report any unsafe acts and defective machinery. Potential hazards should be communicated to students each time they prepare for practicals. Students should be reminded that it is strictly prohibited for them to misuse emergency equipment, including but not limited to fire alarms, fire extinguisher, and the IWAS stations. Horseplay is strictly prohibited. And we know what horseplay is. We know that we should be playing around with these equipment. We should be, doing things that are out of our safety procedures to cause any accident, any incident, or any danger to us or any individual around us. So it is prudent to follow the safety protocols of the organization and of the institution as an individual, and also to protect yourself and the others around you. Safety and health training is important. It's an important component of an effective safety and health program. Management and all employees should be exposed to some form of safety training. And within your course, you do get these safety instructions, right? You give them these safety instructions, and you do a safety component in your course, and therefore you should be able to manage yourself and also to make sure that you are safe within the area that you're working in. Right? Right, so from time to time, you might be in person in a classroom. You must be able to be in a safe classroom. So there must be some level of classroom safety. Chairs, desks, rubbish bins, and so on should not be left where there will become tripping hazards. Suitable ladders or other safe support should be used to reach materials on high shelves, notice boards, and high areas. Do not climb on chairs, boxes, stools, chairs, crates to reach height. So these things that sometimes we tend to do are not safe. So therefore we should use the proper tools and equipment to climb on and so on. Right? So there are some of the other protocols, right? Know your emergency exit, know your evacuation route. And at the institution, there's an evacuation route posted all around the institution. So you know and where your assembly point is. And if you hear an alarm, and so you must know promptly where to go. And if you do not know, you must ask as well. Right? Know where these things know where if an emergency happens, what is the procedure? Know when if a fire is going on and a fire alarm goes off, know where to head. So at our institution, we head straight through the gate briskly, and then know where we go through the gate to the right hand side, because we cannot block the exit. So therefore, that's where we assemble when there's any alarm, right? So you must know all of these safety procedures. All right, that is basically it in a nutshell for me as it pertains to safety in the workplace and safety as it pertains to you as an individual and as the organization. Any questions? That is it for me. All right. That's it in a nutshell. Don't want to keep it too long.
All right. Thank you much, Miss Cole. Trainees, I hope you take your notes, because at some point you will be face to face and need to adhere to some of these safety measures. All right. So our final presentation is from yours truly. So let me go ahead and just put up my presentation. And this one is on the school's manual, and that's a trainee handbook. All right, so let me just go ahead and share my screen. All right, so in your trainee handbook, each trainee is entitled to one of these handbook, and it has some very important information and rules that governs the institution. So the policy outlines that at Boys Town Training Center, all right, trainees are expected to display a high standard of behavior and discipline as it requires at the workplace, right? So Boys Town is training you how to operate when you go out there in the workplace. All right, so behavior and discipline as it requires in the workplace. Therefore, to achieve these goals and for the successful operation of this institution, here are some rules and regulations that are outlined that you must adhere to. All right. So, trainee attendance. All right. Your attendance is very important. And I am sure if you want to maintain a high grade, all right, and even a good recommendation at the end of your training, then your attendance needs to be at least, and I said at least 80 to 100%. All right, so trainees are required to be on time for classes and to attend classes daily, right? Failure to do so will result in disciplinary action, right? And you know what comes. Apart from you being punished, your grades won't be up there. You may find yourself failing your test and your exam. So when you're there in person, you can get more information and you can get more done. All right? Now, acceptable reasons for absenteeism, right? Illnesses, accidents, community disturbance, and social and economic, right? We look on where we look at visitors are not allowed. So we're just diving away. So here we have outlined for reasons for absenteeism, right? Illness, accidents, community disturbance, and social or economic, right? Reason. So it could be that you don't have any lunch money. It could mean that there may be some disturbance, maybe roadblock, maybe some demonstration or so in the community, right? Maybe it's an accident, right? And these things happen and may cause you to be out of school. You may also, you know, maybe sick, illnesses. We have no control over that. But when these things happen, you show the relevant document to say that this is something that happened, and had it not been so, you would have been in school. Now we're talking about also visitors now. During your training hours, you're not expected to have visitors, right, on the compound. right? You shouldn't engage your child if you're in the facility learning, right? We know sometimes as parents and you want to improve yourself and it's rough on you where you may have to take your child. That's a high risk, right? Because we know that the pandemic is out there. Not only that, but also concerns where the safety of the child, right, is needed to be protected. And sometimes when you're engaged in your classes, you're unable to grant that protection that is desired of the child. All right. Let me see now. One moment. All right, so we are also looking at personal appearance and grooming. And when we talk about personal appearance or grooming, we are also talking about how you carry yourself on the compound, whether you are a visitor or you are a trainee, whether male or female. How you carry yourself speaks about you. If you're a trainee, then you're expected to wear your correct uniform. You're expected to be well groomed. The only way you're not wearing your uniform is if you get permission, right? Other than that, you should be in your uniform, and that's what the handbook says at all times, in your uniform, right? If you're a male, you expect that your hair will be well groomed, right? No piercing, no tattoos and so on should be exposed. For the female, you shouldn't have piercing all over your, say for example, your face, your ears, you have piercing all over the ears, your nose, your tongue, and all those places. One piercing, and it's the traditional way where you would just pierce one, just a pierce on the little bottom tip of both ears, and you wouldn't wear an earring that is so visible. You would wear the little tiny ones, we call it the knob, right? For the males, you must ensure that your belt, right, is not one of those fancy belts maybe with the different symbols on it, but rather a regular belt that would look suitable in your uniform. And of course, ladies, you know that no color hair, no extra long hair extensions and so on. Remember, you're attending a training facility, and of course, for whichever skill area you're in, for the ladies that are doing foods, for example, level 2 up to maybe level 4, you know that your nails, your hair can't be too long enough, right? You must be well groomed, and we know that has to do with the preparation policy. All right. Now, we are going to touch on a very important point, right, of the handbook. And this has to do with offenses and penalties, right? The offenses and penalties. Trainees, ensure that you read this section of the handbook, and it's on page 18 to 19. Right? And some types of offenses. You may heard of some because in previous training facility or in school, you would have learned about them, but I'm just going to highlight a few, right? And the first one that I have here, so you would have loud and disruptive behavior, right? It's a training facility. You have to ensure that you communicate and communicate effectively, right? If it is that you realize that you are going to spiral out of control, then you would need, right, to speak to your instructor if it's a discrepancy between you and another trainee. It could also be between you and your instructor. You have to remember that you're in a training institution. Treat it as if it's a job. When you're on the job, you don't behave in such a outburst manner, right? You would have to adhere to the principles that govern the organization, and so it is because you're training, right, to prepare for the world of work. All right. So next one we're looking at, and this is the offenses. We have the expletives, right? Trainees, do not use expletives to express yourself. There are lots of words in the vocabulary that you can use. Do not use expletives. If you breach any of these, rules outlined, there will be consequences, right? And we have a 4-level scale, offense 1 up to 4. And if you breach any of these, then there are penalties, right? And the penalty can lead up to expulsion, suspension, right? And also other actions will be taken that suits that punishment. All right. So having looked at that, I just want to also inform you that the Career Development Office, right, provides advice to trainees with grievance and also helps in determining career choices. The department also provides assistance with work study, work experience. So the work study, this is the objective of this program, right, is to ensure and maintain the relevance of training and offering for trainees, right? So when you go out on this program will help to enhance your growth and your experience, give you a feel of the job world out there and what is expected of you, and for you to grow more into that desired skill area. All right. For the work experience, you will, after a period of time, you will go out there, right, and to learn more about the job, right? So for the grievance aspect now, what I want to mention, the career guidance and counseling department. So that falls under the CDO or the career development folder, right? Where if you are performing at academic standard, right, and you are having challenges, right, where you may think you want to do more or can't, maybe because there are some barriers. So that office is there for you to explore some of the reason. Maybe if interest is not in that course, or maybe there is interest, but you just don't know how to go about doing it. It could be lack of resources, whatever it is, then that office is there for you to guide you into that path and possibly assist in whatever way that portfolio can assist. All right, so that's it for our presentation tonight. Any questions? Any questions?
Hello, Miss.
Yes, any questions?
How can we get the handbook?
All right, so the handbook will be emailed to you by your Miss Smith or
no,
Miss
Paul will email. I'll be sending in the email that I emailed the orientation, you guys too, so I'll be sending the link shortly.
All right, so you
get
heard that. It will be sent to you. A link will be sent to you, and that will provide you with the handbook. Any other question?
Yes. Can we have a copy of this recording?
Say that again.
If we will be able to send us this recording as well.
Yes, you will get that. You will get that by the weekend.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other question? No? All right. So is it Miss Cole or Miss Smith? Could you just bring up the program?
I think we have basically finished for the program for today, Miss Smith.
Okay, we are through.
Yes. There's
all
no.
right. So. All right. So also there will be a tip sent to your email, a study tip for you to guide you in terms of preparation for your assessments. All right. So if no other question, then I want to just say welcome again to Boys Town, and I wish you all the best as you pursue your choice of the course that you have selected. All right.
Thank you.
Have
Thank you,
a
miss.
good evening, everyone, and all the best.
Good evening to you. Good evening, everyone.